So for my individual book report, I chose The End of Alchemy by Mervyn King. I chose this book because Mervyn King is the former governor of the Bank of England. And so when I was searching for a book for this class, I wanted something that was in relation to the London City Finance Tour that we were supposed to do because I'm in finance, and so I wanted to do something in that realm. This relates to our trip because the Bank of England is in London City, and it's in the finance district, and it would have been really cool to see in person because it is the oldest central bank in continuous existence. So the book starts off by explaining what he means by alchemy. So he argues that we have created financial alchemy, which is the idea that paper money could replace intrinsically valuable gold and precious metals, and that banks can take secure short-term deposits and transform them to long-term risky investments. So the part about paper money, that's kind of self-explanatory, but to go into a little deeper about short-term deposits transforming to long-term risky investments is whenever you go to a bank and you deposit, let's say, $100 into your savings account. Most commercial banks are only required to hold 6% of that $100, so $6 in hand. The other $94 they use to do other projects and invest in, they use that capital to lend out mortgages, which would be long-term investments. So he argues that this infrastructure creates a place where economic failures can occur. And in order to end this alchemy, we need to change the dynamics between commercial banks and central banks. And so really central banks, which the Bank of England is a central bank, so it's makes sense that he argues for them to have a little bit more control over the financial system. Right now, they are used as lenders of last resort, meaning that they bail out commercial banks whenever financial crises occur. And we really need to shift our idea of using them as lenders of last resorts to instead pawnbrokers for all seasons. This means that that just like pawn shops, they will lend to everyone, but as long as there's collateral there. So the collateral that he refers to would be the central banks or the commercial banks creating their own emergency fund. So it would make it mandatory for commercial banks to pay upfront, basically a tax to the system and alleviate some of our reliance on alchemy. In relation to our course, one thing that I saw that was prevalent in all of the books that we've read is the idea of trust. So in the culture map, we learned that trust can be either task or relationship based. And they talked about the importance of building trust amongst cross-cultural teams. In World 3.0, we talked about how trust is important in order to increase prosperity and allow foreign businesses in the competition, and then also to learn to trust other people to decrease the psychological distance between them. So in End of Alchemy, trust is also a very big part. He even writes that trust obviates the need for money, and the money without trust has no value. So perhaps it is trust that makes the world go round. One thoughtful question that I had was that I wonder whether or not the global infrastructures that what global infrastructures we need in order to recover from this international disaster that we have right now with COVID-19, and will those changes prevent another disaster? I have a couple survey questions in regards to how much involvement should government/central banks have in supporting the economy during a financial crisis, and how international relief should be distributed within different countries. Thank you for listening, and I hope everyone's being safe.